low filter people, my selects, people and fans out there on a Friday here on a bow tie Friday, and we hope that you're all doing extremely well. Saasha, you doing well?
I am doing phenomenally well. I have a fantastic coffee from, dare I say, our new coffee machine.
New coffee machine. So shout out to all of those people that love us and would like to come down to Henderson, 50 Zadora Turn, and come down and get some wonderful coffee, and we can chat about dirty water, which is what we like, taking...
Chris, you're always talking so dirty.
I'm always talking dirty. I like it when I talk dirty. Some people do, some people don't. But anyway, we won't go there. So yes, hello to everybody. I'm glad you made it for the week.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us on another one. So today, Sash,
Chris,
I thought that I would, as we'd gone through all of our treatment systems and what we have, I thought today I'd explain a little bit about how we get to, for those people that may not know water treatment, how we get to the decisions we get to when we make what we make for our solutions.
So what's happening behind the closed
Behind
doors?
the scenes. So this is the thought pattern. So I'm going to let you all into my head and thoughts, which is all a little bit of a problem. But anyway, we'll see how that works.
We'll keep you on the straight and narrow path.
I'll
and you won't
keep
get
my
lost.
mind segmented, so I only give you a few segments and not the ones that I shouldn't.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, so here we go. So first of all, I've explained that as a basic, you have dirty water that you need to get clean. So you have dirty water of a particular type, whatever it is, contaminants, may have metals in it, may have iron, may have all sorts of stuff, whatever, PFAS, whatever you've got. Basically, you've got some water with some stuff in it. Then you've got to get it down to a level for discharge. So whether that's going back to environment or you're going to reuse the water or you want to use it in some irrigation or dust suppression or whatever it is that you're going to use it, you're going to use it for something, right?
Okay.
Pretty simple. Then you want to do it at a particular rate or a particular flow rate or a particular speed. So that's basically the three basic questions that we ask. So what have you got at the beginning? What do you want at the end? And how fast do you want it? Now, discharge criteria in different states have different things that they need and levels. Now, these are all the ones that you can get. So I've got basically WAs, trade waste and what they require. I've got Southeast Water. We'll go around the country, shall we? Down south, I've got their trade waste requirements. I've got Sydney Water's requirements and what they require for discharge. I've got Queensland Urban Utilities and what they require for their discharge.
Okay, Queensland.
And last but not least, Northern Territory. I've got Northern Territory's trade waste certificate and what they require.
So you understand what every state is needing?
We're right across Australia, so we need to be across what each state requires for their trade waste and what they require at the level of discharge.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now we know what is required for discharge and what levels that we have to get to via regulation. That's all of those pieces of paper, people, that I just put down there. So what we do is we get a water sample. So you may already have done a water sample. There's a number of different companies out there. I'll mention ALS, shout out to MPL Laboratories. We use them. They're a NATA approved testing facility. And you basically take a few samples of your water that you need to find out, and they test it for things like TSS, total suspended solids. They test for metals. And basically what you do is you test for all of the criteria that you're required to have on discharge. So that's pretty good because your state discharge criteria will tell you what's needed in the water on discharge.
Yep.
So you test for those things, and then you'll have some high levels and some low levels. So there'll be some things in there that effectively are good for discharge already, and then you'll have some other things in there that are not so good for discharge and you need to lower before you can discharge, and that's where this little diagram behind me comes in. So what we do is we have a look at all of those sample reports and we work out what needs to be lowered in terms of level, and then we put different sections in for our treatment system to accommodate what we need to do and to get the water back to where it needs to be for discharge. If there's a lot of sort of total recoverable hydrocarbons or TAH, you've got a lot of hydrocarbons, organics in the water, and it's basically free oil that's sitting on or dispersed oil, Then we use our MAC unit, which I've discussed at the beginning, and there basically you design those in terms of flow rate or in terms of size, that sort of thing, for basically for flow. Then the MXR, if you haven't got a lot of dispersed oil in, we won't use one of these units. We'll just go straight for the MXRs. You may have some fines, some suspended solids, some small oily fines, that sort of thing that we need to remove. We'll then use...
Big thing for the mining.
Absolutely. Then we'll use one of these units, and this is a no OPEX, basically low OPEX unit, which is a back washable. The media needs to be changed out, as I've discussed, probably every 5 to 8 years. And this takes the loading of the hydrocarbon and the organics off then your polishing filters that are down the end here. So your OPEX is a lot lower because we put one of these in front, and we might use 2 of these, 3 of these, depending on the level of solid that you've got in the water, depending on all that sort of stuff, which we've worked out through the sampling. Then we go for a series of these ones, which is the MySelects MXH, or the MySelects filter housings. We've talked about our MySelects filter before, the 5 micron, but we go right down to 2 micron where we're moving bacterias and other bits and pieces, so we go rather low. But obviously these units, we don't want a lot of solid coming into these units, because otherwise you'd be changing them out a lot and you'd have a lot of OPEX. So what we do is we put these units in front to take care of the loading before you get to these units down the end. Now really, if you want to go lower than that, when we're getting into our PFAS systems, we then put another one of these units here on the back end, and that is a Performer bulk media, a MySelects Performer bulk media, which is specially made and designed for removal of PFAS. So what we do in our PFAS system is we remove all the hydrocarbons, all the solid, everything that we need to remove in the front end, moving through here. And then if you have a PFAS situation, we then have the Performer at the back end. Now this is just here to take away small amounts of PFAS that are left in the water by the time it gets through to here. And then because of that, this bulk media lasts an extremely long time. So unlike some of your GAC situations, unlike some of the other sort of technologies that are on the market, we have a very high saturation point with this, with PFAS, so we're not changing this out very often. And in fact, some cases it lasts up to 2 years. So it is certainly good. So really, what I wanted to just sort of explain to people really is that if you've got some water sampling and some results of the contaminants that you've got in your water, that's really where we start with. So we've got to know really what's in the water to start with, and that's by sampling, and we can certainly help you there in terms of sampling and direct you through to your state, depending on who's in your state that does sampling and does the reports. I've done that for a number of different places around Australia and a number of different states, clients. So I can direct you to somebody there that can do that for you, can help you in that regard. And then when we get that sampling report through, then we can basically work out a system which is good for CapEx, obviously, but we've got to work on OPEX as well, because you don't want to put something in that's relatively cheap and inexpensive, but then spend a lot more money on OPEX while you're trying to run it. So there's a balance. And that's what we try and do between CapEx and OPEX. So
fantastic.
So we can automate systems, manually do them. It just depends on where you're at, what you want to do, what you want to achieve. So
makes a lot of sense.
That's what we think. That's what we think.
Measurable results that we can say this is the performance that you're going to get for your system.
Absolutely. Look, I hope that if there's any questions, please either ring me or just put them down the bottom, because it'd be good to answer some of the questions. And look, there's no stupid questions. I keep saying it all the time, but if you don't know anything about water filtration, obviously we're the people that do. So get in touch with us if you've got a bit of pain in that regard, and we can hopefully take that away from you. So that's sort of what we're about, because without you guys, we don't have a business. So that's pretty much where that's at. So, you know, the more people we can help, the more obviously we can do along the way, and we prosper, you guys prosper, and that's pretty much what it's all about. So yeah, it's good.
Cool.
Build the relationships, people. Build the relationships. So
back together.
Getting the family back together.
Yep.
Bigger the family, better it is. Might be a few more arguments, but anyway, we won't worry about that so much. So yeah, all good. So I guess we better get back and do some work.
Yes.
And I say it every week, same thing, check on your people, make sure they're doing okay. And we're going to help everybody else in here like we do every week with the way that we can. So stay well, stay happy, and value your time.